everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to a special pre-Easter live stream. We're going to have some fun this week. We're going to live stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week as we work on a little set of Easter-inspired napkin rings. So you'll have a set of napkin ring holders or napkin rings for Easter. Whether you're hosting or going to somebody else's for Easter, you could bring these as a little gift. These are going to be similar to the development of the Thanksgiving set of napkin rings that we did back in the fall. I wanted to do a set for Christmas and time did not allow that, so we're going to do a set for Easter instead. I would like to thank Nico before we get started for gifting a membership. Thank you, Nico. Nico's in the house being super sweet and generous. Congratulations to Bobby who won it. Welcome to the family, Bobby. All right, let's get started, everybody. I'm going to use the same hook I used for the Thanksgiving set. This is a 4.5mm hook. It's also known as a size 7. Pair of scissors, yarn needle, the usual. And as far as yarn goes, I'm going to use my 100% cotton 24/7 size 4 from Lion Brand. So not a sponsored video. You know, I just love 24/7 cotton that much. I also used this to make the Thanksgiving set, and I really like how they turned out. I like the shininess. I like the sturdiness. So I'm going to use my set of my DK, I should say my 24/7 in size 4 for the same sized, roughly, set of napkin rings for Easter. So here we go. I got some colors together. I don't actually have any pink left, unfortunately. I was digging through my stash. So I'm may have to, if I need pink a little later on this week, I may have to borrow some other pink yarns, but that's fine because I've got other cottons in pinks, and we'll just see where the week unfolds and takes us. So today we're going to start by making the napkin ring, and then we're going to make the first little decorative part for the napkin ring. I've got some beads and a needle and thread hanging around as well because I just thought I might add some extra fancy bling to this set of napkin rings because I really love the pretty pastel shiny bits of the beads that I've got, and I thought, you know what, why not add a little something extra. So we're going to do a little bit of embroidery, a little bit of beading if the mood takes us, but more importantly we're going to start with the actual napkin ring. So all of this aside, I'm making my napkin rings for Easter in this yummy purple because I absolutely love purple. It's the same shape and size as the napkin rings that we made for Thanksgiving. So once you've got your chosen yarn, once again, it's a size 4 medium weight, 100% cotton. It's the DK, or I should say it's the 24/7, not the DK 24/7, the size 4 24/7 from Lion Brand, and a 4.5mm hook, also known as a 7. Start with a slip knot and chain 7. You don't need a whole lot of yarn, maybe like 10 yards or less for each one of these little napkin rings. So chain 7 to begin. We're going to use the half double crochet stitch. Skip the first chain from the hook, half double crochet into the second chain, and half double crochet into each chain across. You'll have 6 stitches at the end of row 1. Mr. InStitches, speaking of stitches, has just gifted 5 memberships. It's a happy little Easter thank you from Mr. InStitches and myself, and wee Penny too. So thank you, Mr. InStitches. A big congratulations to Katrina, Jessica, Cindy, Anna, and Sandykins. Welcome back and welcome to the family. Beth with a membership milestone. Hi, Beth. Beth's been a member for 16 months. Thank you so much. She says good morning and happy Easter, Jayda, Mr. and all. I second that. Happy Easter. It's I need the pastels and the pretty Easter flowers and the colors right now. It's been a slow crawl getting us to spring. It's very misty and wet out there today, but however, it looks more spring than winter, so we're heading in the right direction. At the end of row 1, you'll have 6 half double crochet stitches, chain 1 turn at the end of every row, skip your turning chain, half double crochet in each stitch all the way across. You'll still have 6 stitches at the end of every row. You're going to chain 1 turn, half double crochet in every stitch for 12 rows total. So don't miss that last stitch right at the end. You'll have 6 stitches in every single row. Always chain 1, always turn, always skip that little turning chain, half double crochet in each half double crochet from the previous row. 12 rows total. You can just sort of turn your brain off and work back and forth until you've got 12 rows of half double crochet. And that will be the bulk of the ring build. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. It's hard to believe that we're halfway through April already. I just don't understand why everything is moving so quickly. Maybe because there's just so many great projects that I want to get to that there never seems to be enough time to get to them all. Maybe that's why it feels like the time is flying so quickly. Half double crochet in each stitch. Always chain 1, turn, always skip the turning chain. The turning chain's just there to get you turned around. Size 4, medium weight, 100% cotton yarn. I'm using the 24/7, but you can use whatever 100% size 4 medium weight cotton you want, especially if you've got really pretty colors in it. I recommend cotton only because it's going to be close to things that might be hot or cold. And cotton is just my choice for anything that comes near hot, cold, or food. It's also easy to wash. Hello, Nicola. Nicole, member for 43 months with a membership milestone. Thank you, Nicole. Nicole says, good morning. I am finally getting to watch a live stream. Hello. What would be a good crochet item for my daughter's 13th birthday? Well, first question, what's your daughter into? What does she like? What are her favorite colors? Are there things that she, clothing items that she really likes, trends that she's sort of got her eye on right now? Is there a show that she likes that you could make like a little amigurumi figure from? Anything like that. Always start with somebody's likes and start with their favorite colors and what they like, because everybody, don't think about somebody's age. I mean, unless the child is like 5 and under and there's like a grab swallow reflex that you've got to worry about. Age doesn't really come into play when it comes to what somebody likes. I mean, I've known 12-year-old boys who are obsessed with trains. And I've known 72-year-old men who are obsessed with trains. So, the age doesn't really matter. What is it that they're into? What do they like? I know at 13, girls can be extremely sensitive to what their friends are into. So, what's been part of the conversation lately? What is she into? What does she like? And that's what I would do. I would kind of crochet something in that vein. Maybe she wants something cute, like a cute pillow for her bed. Maybe she would love it if you made her something, but she doesn't want to necessarily share it publicly because I can remember when I was 12, 13, 14, I still really liked my gem dolls and I still really liked my My Little Ponies. But none of my friends wanted to play with toys or, talk about toys or what they considered kid stuff anymore. So, that all kind of got shoved to the back of the closet, but I still thought about it and it still bothered me that I couldn't share that with anybody anymore. So, people are all different. They're all moving in their own time. Let's see here. I've been crocheting. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's my 12th row. That was quick. Once you've got 12 rows, and you can count them pretty easily, I can see the difference between row 1 and row 2. So I'm looking at the row that faces me. So I count by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's 12 rows. Chain 1 at the end of your 12th row. Bring your short ends together and nice and loosely, not too tight, you're going to slip stitch the 2 ends together so that you can create a simple little seam. Do not slip stitch very tightly because you don't want to create a tight little seam. Well, Lynette. Hello, lovely Lynette. Thank you so much for the super chat, which is just a whole lot of love. Thank you so much. Oh, speaking of which, thank you thank you to our family members. Thank you for the gifted memberships, Nico and Mr. InStitches. Thank you to Lynette for the super chat. Thank you. It's our big happy thank you sign. Slip stitch through each set of stitches and the foundation chains all the way across. Don't be too tight because you don't want it to kind of get cinched. Then you can fasten off. And I like to, whenever possible, if I've got both my short tails sitting next to each other when I'm finished a little something, I like to knot them together. It's just one more little fail-safe against anything coming undone, and that's especially handy when you're dealing with this kind of a yarn, which is so lovely and soft and slippery. Then I'm going to weave those tails in. I'm going to weave them in over here. Get my needle right through those stitches. I'm going to pull both of them through at the same time. There we go. Both of you in there. So I'm going to pull them both all the way through. There we go. And loosen up the slack. Make sure that I didn't over tighten. I've only got one that's still showing through the edge, so I'm just going to loop back on itself. And there we go. All right, so that is the inside. You can see the seam. That's the inside now. We're going to flip them right side out so that the little seam pretty much just disappears. It looks like the rest of it. But if your seam is kind of obvious or you feel like it's a little bit cinched or something, don't worry because that's actually where we're going to be putting all of our appliques. So your homework will be to make as many of these little rings, same color, different colors, as you want napkin rings. I will be making a set of 4, but you can make 8, 12, however many you need or want, or think if you want to make a few sets as gifts, or you just maybe you're going to or hosting a really big party, you want one for each place setting. That's how many you want to make. So chain 7, half double crochet in the second chain from the hook, half double crochet in each chain across. That's 6 half double crochet stitches at the end of row 1, chain 1 turn, half double crochet in every single stitch all the way across, chain 1 turn at the end of every row. You'll have 6 stitches per row. Do that for 12 rows total. Bring the short ends together, slip stitch a seam, fasten off, weave in tails. That is your napkin ring. And then make as many as you feel you need to. Make sure that you kind of settle on them all being either inside out or right side out or inside right side in, however you want that to look. Keeping in mind that you'll be placing your applique or your little doodad on that seam. So I'm making a set of 4. There's my 4. Let's make the first little decoration for our set of Easter napkin rings. So I'm going to pull out this delicious creamsicle color. Oh, look at this orange. We're going to make a little egg. So it's the familiar little egg applique. I've been kind of chirping about it for the last couple of weeks. I used some in my April unblanket. I made a whole bunch leading up to that because I was making little just eggs for a whole bunch of different reasons. We created a couple of pins out of them when we made our bunny sweater last Monday. So this is the same little pattern, but I realized it's mostly just I've been showing the egg. We haven't really done it in a while. We have a tutorial for it. We have a free written pattern for the egg over on our website, so make sure you check that out if you are collecting patterns. But this is basically the small version of our little egg pattern. Nice and simple. I figured we'd do it all together, and then we do a little decorating. So I'm going to make one in this delicious creamsicle color. I'm going to start with a slip knot. I'm going to chain 5, and I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. I'm going to single crochet in each of the next 2 chains. That brings me up to the last chain. I'm going to work 3 single crochets into that chain. Now, because we're going to be working up the other side, I do this little trick where I hold the short tail that started with it while I work those, let's not split my yarn here, while I make those 3 single crochet into that last chain, I kind of hold the little tail out of the way. Because when you work a whole bunch of stitches into the same chain, sometimes a little space opens up. But if you pull now on that tail and you work over top of it and you pull it sort of taut a couple times, that little hole will disappear. So into the bottom of the next 2 single crochets that we already made, you're going to single crochet, pull on that little short tail. You're working over top of that little short tail, single crochet into the next chain, pull it again, and you see that that little space has pretty much disappeared. And then you're going to single crochet into the last chain. So this is sort of the chain underneath that first single crochet. I'm still working over top of that little short tail. I'm going to continue to work over top of it. This is so nice and slippery, this yarn. There we go. And now you've got 3 on each side and 3 at the bottom. So 3, 6, 9 single crochet, join with a slip stitch to the top of the first single crochet you made. And you can weave in that tail later or continue to work over top of it. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to continue working over top of it. I'm going to chain 1. Do not turn. We're always working in the same direction. So I'm just going to actually have a sip of my water here. Oh my goodness, that feels good. Baking Mama of 3 says, where do you get your cotton yarn from, Jayda InStitches? I'm from BC. Oh, Len's Mills carries a lot of the Lion brand 24/7, and they frequently have sales. Len's Mills is based in Ontario, but they ship anywhere in Canada, and if you order $50 or more, they'll ship you for free if you're in Canada, so that's kind of handy. For row 2, we are going to work into the same stitch that we just chained out of. So into the same stitch that we slip stitched into and then chained out of, we're going to work 2 single crochet. 2 single crochet in the same stitch as joining. I'm working over top of that little short tail. It will disappear in a moment. Single crochet into the next stitch. And now we're going to start to turn it into an egg. We're going to work 2 half double crochet stitches into each of the next 4 stitches. So 2 half double crochet stitches into each of the next 4 stitches. This is going to turn it into a little egg shape. Half double crochet once into the next stitch. Single crochet once into the next stitch. And then you've got 1 stitch and the false stitch. The false stitch is the slip stitch from the previous row join. We're going to use that too. So we're going to work 2 single crochet into each of those 2 stitches. So that'll be the actual stitch and then the little slip stitch or the false stitch that sits right at the base of that chain 1 that began the row. 2 single crochet in each of those little stitches. Then you can slip stitch to the top of the first single crochet you made. You will definitely be getting a little egg shape, right? Nice little egg shape happening here. We've got 1 more row to do. Chain 1. We're still not turning. We're still working in the same direction. And here we go. 2 single crochet in the same stitch as joining. So right in the same place you just chained out of, 2 single crochet. Single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So just 1 single crochet 3 times. Half double crochet in the next stitch. And now we're going to do this little slight expansion around the corner here. So we're going to go 2 half double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet, 2 half double crochet, half double crochet, 2 half double crochet, half double crochet, 2 half double crochet, half double crochet. So we're going to do that little increase 4 times total. So 2 half double crochet in the next stitch, followed by a half double crochet in the stitch after that. That's a bit of an increased pattern. You're going to repeat that 3 more times. That just gets us around the bottom edge. Hello, hello! This week we're live streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So be sure to pop in. You can in and out all days. We are going to be working on this cute little set of Easter coasters all week long. So it's the kind of thing where you can pop in and out. You can catch the replay. You can make as many or as few as you want. It's a fun little Easter project. So in our run up to Easter, to make sure I do that 4 times. 2 half double crochet and then 1 half double crochet. So you've done 2 half double crochet followed by 1 half double crochet 4 times total. You're going to single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. So you're kind of just repeating what you did on the other side. That leaves you with this stitch and the false stitch. You're going to single crochet twice into the next stitch and then single crochet once into that little false stitch. So just 2 here and then 1 little one right into that false stitch just to kind of smooth things out, and then slip stitch to join to the top of that first single crochet. You'll have roughly 24 stitches, but don't worry about the stitch count so much. You're more interested in having an egg shape. Now, we're going to leave ourselves a little bit of tail for sewing. You don't need a whole lot because you're not actually stitching down all the way around. You're only going to stitch underneath it where it kind of touches. So like it's going to sit on top of your napkin ring like this. So you'll only be stitching down using the loops around what was maybe row 2 or row 1. So it's the underside. So you don't need a whole lot of yarn. Maybe 25 centimeters or 10 inches tops. And then I would take that tail and just with your yarn needle pull it in underneath on the back side to about the underside of row 2 and just leave it there for now. So there you are, you're set up to sew this down. And now the fun part. I thought we'd do a little embroidery, maybe add some pretty little beads and really make this look like an Easter egg. This is the part that I love. I love decorating stuff. So I've got some strands. I've got some white. That'll show up nice. I've got a little bit of turquoise. That's kind of nice. I've got like this periwinkle. I think I'll stick with the aqua. And I've got green, maybe not. I've got, of course, more of the purple, and I've got some yellow. Maybe I'll just keep it simple. So aqua and white. Maybe I'll start with the white. I'll see if it needs the aqua. And then I'm going to stitch in some beads because why not? I also, I've got my crochet thread out as well, because I wasn't sure. I've got some lovely pastels in crochet thread and I wasn't sure if maybe I might do a little bit of like super tiny detail. I don't know. We're going to see where it takes us. This is the easy way to do a bit of embroidery. First, we're just going to work that classic sort of little like chevron pattern across it. So you just need a little length of yarn, maybe just to be safe. Again, 25 centimeters, maybe 10 inches or so. And your yarn needle. Yes, we're live streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all this week at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. We're going to just be working on our little Easter napkin ring set. We're going to have a different little napkin ring image each day. Today is the egg. We just covered how to make the actual napkin ring, so your homework is to make as many of these as you want, and then we'll be making pretty little applique designs for the top of them each day this week. And just so you know, since you're here, this coming weekend, the Easter weekend, if you've been here watching us for more than a year, you'll know that the Easter weekend is our Etsy shop's anniversary. So we opened our Etsy shop pretty much on the Easter weekend 12 years ago. So this weekend marks our 11th anniversary sale. So this will be our 11th anniversary sale. We opened up the shop back in 2013, But it's, of course, you don't have an anniversary on the first year or the first day that you open. So this is going to be our 11th anniversary sale this weekend. And it's the second biggest sale of the year we do. Our biggest sale is Black Friday, but the anniversary sale is not anything to sneeze at. The entire shop will be 20% off, and that'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So if you're planning on picking up a pattern, we'll have this entire Easter set of patterns put together and available as of Thursday evening. But wait, you're here, you know we're going to be having our anniversary sale. Wait to get anything, if you're going to get something, until this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 20% off the whole shop. And we'll remind you of it as we go. Nico, the super sweet ninja Nico, gifting another membership. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Cece Lynn, who has won it. Welcome to the family. I'm sipping my water. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put right off the bat, I'm going to put a little chevron right across the middle, the wide section. So I'm going to bring my yarn in, always from the wrong side or the back side, remembering that most of your applique is going to be stitched down on your napkin ring, so you don't have to worry really about what's showing on the back. But try not to get your egg sewing thread tied up in anything. Leave a little tail at the back. And here we go. I want to go down, up, down. So down, up, down, up, down, up. So if that's, say, the middle of my egg, I'm going to go down. I cannot come back through the same place that I just exited because that'll pull my yarn out. So right where I want the next one to end up, I'm going to come out through there and then go down in the same place. So now I've got down, up, and it doesn't matter what it looks like on the back, but that's how it's going to look. Now I'm going to come out up here, and I want the next down to be somewhere kind of in the middle. Same thing, I come out up over here. I'm going to join that stick there. So down, up, and try not to pull too tightly. Making sure that I don't catch my sewing tails. I want to get that out of the way. One more down and an up. So I'll go here, and then I'm going to come out here. And my last one will be right back through there. A very simple, basic little chevron pattern. There we go. So that's a cute little like that. I think it's supposed to emulate like the cracked egg, but I mean, how cute is that? So simple, very, very simple. Now you could go back over it with another length to make it look thicker. You could mimic it up top a little bit. I think I might do that. So I'm just going to tie this one off, and I'm going to do that by bringing this short tail over here and this short tail over here. And again, I'm not pulling tight. I don't want to like change up any of the stitching on the front. I'll just knot these two ends together, and then I'm going to trim them because they will hide between the stitching of my egg and the stitching of the napkin ring. So I think I might just do that 3 times to be nice and certain. There we go. And then Mandy has been here for 7 years. There's a lot of you who have kind of like what we'd call OG viewers. You've been here for a long time, and we really appreciate that you're still here and sticking around. Thank you so much for all of your support over the years. We really appreciate it. We wouldn't be here doing this if you guys weren't there watching us. So kind of a big deal. Thank you very, very much. So that's how it's going to look on the, so far on our napkin ring. Why is that so cute? Can anybody explain why that little chevron pattern is so cute? I don't know. All right, do I just stick with the white? I think I will, you know. I think adding in more colors muddies it. I think I'm going to stick with the white. And I'm going to do another row of the chevron pattern up a little higher. I kind of like the way that looks. And then I'm going to sew in some beads because I just think that will look so cute. Since this is going to be covering a shorter distance, I will not need as much, so I'll cut slightly less yarn. Beth is asking, could we make the egg multicolored or is embroidery better? You could absolutely make the egg multicolored. It would be easiest to just change the color per row, which means that you're going to have like, as opposed to it being like the bottom one color and the top one color, which you could totally do. You just have to change colors halfway through as you're working those rows. So you could totally do that. In fact, if we have time, I might even sneak one of those in. The other thing you could do is just make row 1 in a color, row 2 in a color, row 3 in a color, and you'll have like, you know, a striped egg, three rows of color. But if we have time, I will show you what I'm talking about by working, like switching between colors. It's not as difficult as it seems. So yeah, I'm going to do exactly the same little thing. I'm going to mimic the chevron pattern from below. Summer's in the house. Hey, Summer. Summer with a membership milestone. Summer's been a member forever. 71 months. Thank you so much, Summer. Summer says, I've been a member for almost 6 years. It was around like a year or so before that was an option. You are not getting rid of me anytime soon. Thank you, Summer. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so true. Summer's been here for a long time. Thank you so much. All right, and there is the mimicked little chevron pattern up top. So same thing, keep this tie out of the way. I'm going to bring my ties together. That looks like it might loosen. So let me just quickly go through and make sure. I'm going to hold this down. What I'm going to do is make sure that I don't have any unnecessary looseness. It's good to not embroider too tightly, but you know, you don't also want any potential looseness to work its way out after the fact. There we go. And Becky, a member for 9 months. Thank you so much, Becky, with a membership milestone, says, thank you, Jayda and Mr. InStitches, for all of the great tutorials and patterns. Thank you. An Easter sale. Ooh, boy. Happy Easter week, everyone. Chevron reminds me of Charlie Brown. Egg-tastic week. Yes. Ah, the Charlie Brown Easter eggs. Yes. I just love, there's something so magical about little Easter eggs. I've been happily decorating eggs one way or another since some of my earliest crafting memories of when I was really, really young. I would have had to have been 3 because I remember why I was making the eggs. Was making construction paper eggs and then decorating them. That was just so delightful to me. Obviously, you're pretty impressionable at 3 years of age, but I remember making them. They felt huge. They felt like they were this big, but they were probably only this big because I had tiny little hands. But we were busy making those, and I just remember doing that. It was so much fun. And I think every year since then, I've had some kind of little egg craft going. So that's a lot of decorated Easter eggs. Okay. You can always take a moment to shuffle your little stitches around if you want them to look a little bit more pointed or kind of change where the little stitch goes. I think that looks pretty good. So there we go. There's that, yes, kind of a Charlie Brown shirt, that little chevron pattern across his shirt. Let's do some beading. This is my favorite part. I've got thread. I also have some crochet thread. Oh, I already have a threaded needle, I think. So that's good. Yes, I'll use that one. I also have some thread handy if I need it. This is not a lot, so I'll just do a couple of beads to start with, and then I'll probably end up rethreading my needle. So when I'm beading, I like to double up my yarn. It's one length of yarn, but I grab both ends and knot them so that it's a double length of yarn. Just makes it a little stronger, and I also don't have to keep sewing the same bead in multiple times. So let's get into some. These are just dollar store bead collections. You find them in the craft section. Every once in a while they have these cute little kits with like little beads in them. And they're kind of great. I like this little tray that some of them come with. You can kind of work in the tray. I might actually keep that handy. This one's a bit smoother. And then let's see. I've got pink, blue might show up a little bit better. That makes it look a bit muddy. The yellow's kind of cute. The cream's kind of the same color. What about these purple ones? Maybe these ones. Yes. What about these? These are bugle beads. I love these little straight beads. They look like little sprinkles. What do you guys think? Sprinkles? The bugle beads or the round beads? So there's the bugle beads. I'll hold them up a little closer. They're pink cylindrical glass beads. These are all glass, except for these. These little sequins are plastic, obviously. Or these are sort of small. I think the blue kind of looks a bit muddy against the creamsicle color, so I think I want to keep, like this one, these little purple ones have that kind of, that oil slick kind of thing going where there's like a little bit of a rainbow worked into it. They're really pretty too. Sandra's asking, did I hear you say this was 24/7 cotton? Yes, this is 24/7 cotton. It's the size 4, not the DK weight. I haven't worked with the DK weight yet. I'm sure it's just as awesome, but just thinner. But this is all 24/7 size 4. And I use the same stuff to make the Thanksgiving set. So I figured I would keep with the program because it's the right size, especially for my napkins. I really like these. These, maybe you won't see them as much. They're kind of the same color as the little bugle beads. The pink is the same color as the bugle beads. I think the blue, as much as I like the baby blue, I think it makes it look a little muddy. You know what? I'll let you guys decide. I will put one of every color that I kind of like, and you tell me what you think sort of shows up the best. That one's a pretty one too. Maybe the yellow. Okay. I will hold this up as close as I can to the video so that you guys can see it, or the camera I should say. Okay, I think that's pretty close. Here we go, here we go. So we've got, allow me to point it out, here's my little pointer. We've got little light lavender bugle beads. These are more lavender than pink. We've got a very watery white yellow shiny bead here. These are all glass, so that's not bad actually. We've got the baby blue, which I feel looks a little more periwinkle. Like I think the creamsicle makes the baby blue look a little more periwinkle. It's a little bit muddy, but it's not terrible. Then there's this purpley one that's got kind of an oil slick kind of rainbowy effect on the outside of it, and just another pink one down here. So what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Becky likes the bugle beads. Jessica Rabbit's into the purples. I know, Miss Rabbit. We're both into purple right now. I could totally do... so we've got the blue and pink do show more, Mela. You're right. You're right. The long ones show up pretty well, but this one shows up pretty well too. The blue stands out. Yeah, the blue does stand out. And I don't want to use too many colors because I don't think it, well, if I go with a whole bunch of different colors, it's going to look like confetti cake. Not that that's a bad thing. The blue, yeah, the blue. This is hilarious. The blue might be it. Okay, let me see about, so nobody wants the yellow. kind of am agreeing on that. The purple stands out, I think. You almost can't even see the bugle bead, eh? And Sandra's also asking about the gold one. Well, let me see. So bugle bead is a no. I'm going to put the pink one back. Oh, that's a lavender, not a pink. Ah, I just put it in the wrong place. That makes me crazy when I do that. My OCD coming out in me. All right, I'll grab it. There we go. Okay, back you go. The gold is too small, and I think it would just not show up as nice. I think it's too orange against the creamsicle. So maybe those two? The blue or just the blue? Okay, guys, so I'll do a few more of these here. Blues, purple. All right, so purple and blue, or just blue, or just purple. Boy, the blue shows up the best, doesn't it? Sip of water. Hi, everybody. Hi, Shell. Just the blue, just the blue, just the blue, just the blue. Everybody's just got the blues. Okay, it's blue. Blue. We're going to go blue, everybody. Let's do blue. Blue it is. Blue for you. Okay. I think I'll use about 6. That's a nice distribution of beads. I'll just plunk them all here in this little, and then I don't have enough. I probably don't have enough to get all of them on. So I'm just going to start. Actually, I'm going to anchor it back here. I will run my needle between those 2 knotted threads. There we go. Make sure that's nice and sturdy. And then I'm just going to go decorating Easter eggs. Ah, so much fun. I think I might just go through them each twice. I'm going to keep that out of the way, just so I know that it's not going to snap and come off. Okay, and then, so that's 1 down. Cute. I'm going to try and make it look kind of random. I'm going to run my needle underneath a stitch on the back, just so I don't have a great long thread that might get caught kind of back there. And then I will put the other one about here. These are also a nice sized bead. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be re-threading the needle in a second. There we go. Yeah. Cute. Good choice, gang. Okay. I'm going to knot this off, make a loop, drag the needle through it, do it twice if you can. There we go. And I'll just run my needle under some thread or some yarn. Okay, and trim. Good. So that's 2 on. Let me get a little bit more white yarn, or white thread, I should say. Put you right there. Okay. Ends together, knot them, and let's stitch on the other 4. So I'm going to put the bottom 2 on first, and then I'll work out where I want the ones in the middle. There's a little tail there. I might trim that, just so it's not hanging around. Good. All right, here we go. Everybody take care. If you've got a dip, we'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. Okay. And I'm going to sew this twice, making sure that it's not bunching up underneath it. There we go. So that's one. I could put one there. I could also do 3 on the bottom since it's always good to kind of get an idea. 2 in the middle of the chevrons and 2 on the bottom, so 2, 2, and 2, or maybe like 3, 1, and 2. What do you guys think? The puppy is doing great. Tammy, thanks for asking. She's barking at something, but she's a dachshund and they bark at everything. So 2, 1, 3. I like the 2, 2, 2. I know there's something nice about balanced things. So Jessica Rabbit likes 2, 1, 3. Amanda likes 2, 2, 2. So that's 2, 1, 3, and 2, 2, 2 would be kind of more balanced. Obviously, I'll try and make it still look a little bit like random-ish. But 2, 1, 3. So that's 2 votes for 2, 1, 3. Tracy likes 2, 1, 3. I kind of like both. I don't really know. 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3. I guess 2, 1, 3 is going to be what we do with the egg. All right, 2, 1, 3, everybody. I will stitch another one down somewhere kind of in the middle down here. So I will run the needle underneath some loops back here just to get it to the middle. And then out somewhere around here. All right, let's sew this guy down. Make sure you're actually getting over a crochet stitch or a loop, or at least getting through the yarn when you're sewing down beads. You don't want to accidentally go up and down through the same space because the bead will just fall right out the back. There we go. And then I'll just run this needle again under some stitches, and I'll put one. I'm going to cover up this sort of space because why not? So when you're covering a space with a bead, make sure that you anchor the thread on through the yarn on one side of the hole and then through the thread on the other side of the hole, and definitely stitch that bead down at least twice to make sure that it does not want to get pulled down through the hole. All right. Nice little random assortment of beads down there. And then the last one, let's see, maybe right in the middle. Right in the middle. It's going to be right in the middle. Okay. So I'm going to run the needle underneath there. And we'll cover that little space in the middle. So I'm going to bring it right, I'm going to bisect the actual yarn with my needle. Making sure I'm not stitching my sewing thread or sewing yarn. And there we go. That's the last bead. I'll knot that thread on the back. All right. Now we're going to stitch the egg. So that is that all stitched up. Trim that. Needle goes back in the safety of the little needle case. Okay, that goes over there. Close up the beads for now. Okay, so we've got one finished little Easter egg. It's cute. Now we're going to stitch it to the top of the napkin ring. Remember that this is, so I flipped it inside out, so that's the seam of my napkin ring. The seam is facing inwards. I like the look of the seam on the outside. I will be stitching it to the top of the seam. So if you think to yourself, well, I don't really care since this is going to be covered, you don't have to flip the thing inside out, especially if you kind of want it smooth on the inside. This is entirely up to you. It doesn't matter. The whole thing will be covered, especially in this case. So, you know, do what you like. I'm going to sew the underside of the egg. So as much of the egg as possible to as much of the top of the napkin ring as possible, allowing for it to want to be a circle. So if you want to pull your sort of things through the napkin ring, it can be a little squished, because it's all right if your napkin kind of sits a bit squished. So what I'm going to do is hold my egg in place, and you do not have to sew all the way through. Just grab the tops of the loops of the stitches on your napkin ring, grab the loop of the stitch on the back side of the egg, and get as close to the edge as you can. Get as much of the egg stitched down as possible. Try to make sure that you're always kind of, slippery yarn slips out of yarn needle. Make sure your egg isn't moving around on you. When you get down here, you're just sort of, you know, grabbing loops that are close or directly above the loops on the actual napkin ring. Don't mind me, I'm trying to think and sew at the same time. Yeah, this is really cute. And getting as close to the edge of the egg will keep the egg shape, so the egg won't want to curl on you, but you also won't see any stitching around, like you won't be seeing any whip stitching over the edges, so it kind of makes the edges look nice and like kind of sleek. You're not going to see any stitching showing through to the inside. You're not going to see any stitching showing through to the outside of your egg. It's all kept between the actual crocheted pieces. It's all confined to the underside of the egg and the top side of the little napkin ring. And this is going to basically be how you sew down all of the little goodies onto your napkin rings. So whatever little, like we're going to do 4 unique designs this week, but I mean there's a million different little ideas and designs, so if you wanted to do whatever you wanted to stitch onto your actual napkin rings, this is always going to be the best way to do it, so that the whole thing lays flat, it doesn't want to curl up on you, you maintain that lovely little egg shape, and your edge is clean. You don't see any stitching. You don't see any stitching on the inside. You don't see any stitching showing through to that side of the egg. And then when you've got the whole thing down, you're going to make a little knot underneath it. And make it nice and tight. Maybe even do it twice. I will do it twice, just to be sure. Then weave your tail in a little bit. And you want to weave it in underneath the stitches of the egg. Try not to show through to the wrong or the right side of the egg, and don't show through to the inside of the, so if I flip this inside out, there's no stitching showing. And you know what? I'll give it another few. When you have extra, you may as well weave it in a little bit extra. So I'll just weave it in underneath the stitches along row 3 on the wrong side of the egg, and then I'll trim it. There we go. And that is our little Easter egg napkin ring holder, or napkin ring. Love it. Napkin holder, napkin ring. I always say napkin ring holder, which is kind of like an oxymoron. It's a napkin ring. It obviously holds a napkin if it's a ring. So I don't know why I always say that. There you go, napkin ring. We're out of time, so I'm not going to show the two-toned Easter egg, but I'd like to see how it works out. So I will whip one up this afternoon, and if I think it looks half decent, I'll whip up a quick tutorial and I'll throw that up on the channel later on today. So keep an eye out for that. I will certainly I will leave a post about it, whether it works out or not, in the post section of our YouTube. The post section is a fun place to hang out. We post all sorts of fun things there, including photographs from people like you who send them to us at the Etsy shop. So link to the Etsy shop in the description box. It's not just for shopping. You can message us there and ask us questions about the patterns you've purchased, and you can send us photographs. And if you do, let us know if they're okay to share. We assume that they are, but you know, we also recommend that if you wanted to share something but you don't want it shared, let us know. Yeah, this is private. I just wanted to share this with you. That's fine too. Again, link in the description box. Remember, our anniversary sale is this weekend. So if you're thinking about buying a pattern, put it in your cart, but don't shop. don't hit buy until Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday this weekend. So wait for the weekend because we're having our big 20% off anniversary sale. And if you're here, you're in the know. That was today's napkin ring. We did the little egg. Tune in tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. And we'll do napkin ring number 2. We're going to do this 4 times this week. So your homework is to make as many little napkin rings, base rings, as you want. If you need a set of 4, a set of 8, a set of 12, 16, 20, however many people you might be hosting at Easter, or if you want to make sets, I would love it. If you love the egg, I mean, I love the egg. Imagine a whole bunch of Easter eggs in different colors. There's a set of 4, and that's a lovely little gift for somebody. If you're going to be attending an Easter party, bring a little set of Easter napkin rings. They're just so cute. I don't know who wouldn't like to get a set of these. They're just adorably cute. So make them for yourself. Make them for someone you love. And tune in all week. We'll be making different little appliques for the tops of our rings each day this week. 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. So that's the homework. Make as many of these rings as you want. Come see us again tomorrow, and keep an eye on the posts tab and maybe even the channel later on today. I'm going to whip one of these up in 2 colors. If I like the way it looks, you're going to get a video. Have a safe and crafty afternoon. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here, and have a great afternoon. Bye.